Not all change is bad, but not all change is advantageous either, especially when it involves disfigurations and body part swapping. What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. I tend to disagree in certain circumstances. I doubt surviving a train wreck makes you stronger. At this point in my life, I feel as weak as I have ever been. I feel odd and peculiar, a stranger to my own body, a monster to my soul. Several months ago, as I was lying in bed, a wave of red light poured in through my window, accompanied by a hypnotic vibrating purr that put me in a deep sleep. When I woke up, my left hand felt swollen. At first, I thought nothing of it, but as I went through my morning routine, things felt different. My grasp wasn't as strong, but it wasn't just that. It felt as if I had a different tactile sensation altogether. I finally became conscious of the extent of the difference when I went to brush my teeth. I grabbed the toothbrush with my right hand and the tube of toothpaste with my left hand. As I tried to line the nozzle to the toothbrush, I noticed that my left hand was slightly bigger than my right hand and had a darker skin tone. The contrast was striking. I have a very fair skin complexion. My mom always said that I was Irish white, that she would lose sight of me walking to the mailbox through a snowstorm. I dropped the dental toiletries in the sink. I held my hands up in front of my face. I never chewed my nails, but on my left hand, the nails were almost chewed down to the cuticle. I turned my hands over and they were as different as night and day. The left was callous from hard work and dedicated labor. The other was the pampered hands of a college student. Around the wrist of my new left hand was a bracelet of thick dark stitches, hardly signifying friendship or wealth. I had to call the police, but when I got my phone, there was a text message. "Don't go to the police, or we'll remove your head. No more procedures needed." I wasn't too sure what to do at that point. Whoever did this was able to in one night knock me out, surgically remove my hand and replace it with someone else's hand. If they were able to do that, then I was certain they would be able to get in and do much worse. Luckily, I was in between semesters, no classes to attend, nothing as of yet to explain. Even though it was hot as hell and it was in the middle of summer, I put on a long-sleeved shirt and a pair of gloves. My left glove barely fit, and the phrase "if it don't fit, you must quit" popped in my head. I frequented the food truck parked in the convenience store parking lot near my apartment building at least 3 times a week. They have the best burrito I have ever eaten, bursting with meat and spices, not any of those lean, stingy burritos you get at traditional restaurants. But lately, there has been this strange street person hanging out at the corner. He showed up around a month before my ordeal. He was not begging for money but preaching about an invasion. He was always dressed as if it was 40 below zero. Instead of walking along the sidewalk, I decided to climb down the hill from my apartment that led directly to the back of the convenience store. From my deck, I could watch the customers go in and out of the store. The apartment building sat on a high hill overlooking the street below. I could see that the homeless man wasn't at his usual corner, but I didn't want to take any chances. I got down the hill and hopped down from the retaining wall, when all of a sudden he jumped out from behind the dumpster, dressed in a long trench coat, gloves, a ski mask, and a scarf wrapped around his neck. "They got you, son. They've tagged you. I saw the red light. I've been tracking them for a while. You ain't getting away and they ain't stopping. You need to come with me." "Mister, I don't have any money I can give you. I don't want your damn money, son. I'm here to save your life. I tried to walk past him, but he blocked my path and pushed me back. As he did so, he started unwrapping his scarf and pulling off his ski mask. I resumed my attempt to get to my favorite burrito, but he blocked me again. I was looking down, not paying attention, so I didn't notice that he was completely unmasked with his trench coat and shirt laying on the ground. Look here! I looked up to see the most grotesque, confusing human being I had ever perceived. He was a patchwork of different races, different skin tones, and stitched up scars running throughout his body and face like a map of a river and its many tributaries. His nose was completely foreign to his face, and both eyes were awkwardly strung together from two different individuals. Worst of all, there was a large scar around his neck, indicating that this head had been removed and reattached. They told you that they were done, right? I nodded my head in agreement. Well, I'm proof that they are a bunch of damn liars. I hate to tell you this, but your life is over as you know it. You can come with me and stay intact, or refuse my help and become what I am today. I should have taken his advice, but I wasn't in a state to comprehend the reality of my situation. I was still unsure of what I had seen this morning. I was trying to convince myself that I had just slept on my hand or had a bad dream and slammed it against the wall. It was just swollen, not someone else's hand. I'm fine, man. I just want a burrito. Leave me alone, please. All right. I'll still be here when you are ready. There's a place we like to call the Isle of Misfit Toys. You know, from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You'll be safe there. I promise you, it's not going away. I started to walk away, determined to ignore him, but then he said something that caught my attention. I bet you are O negative blood type. All us misfit toys are O negative. Universal donor baby. Now how did I know that? You still want to turn a blind eye. I'm sorry, man. Come on. Let me take you to your new home. There's no way to fight them, or stop them? Maybe in time, but all we know how to do right now is hide and keep them from tracking us. How do you keep them from tracking us? I asked. You're not going to like it, but we got to dig a tracking device from in between your lower ribs. I wasn't too thrilled about that, but then again, I'd rather go through a little suffering on the front end to avoid any more experimental alien body part swapping. We walked down the main highway to a back road where there was an old, abandoned warehouse. He gave a coded knock to let them know that it was a friend and then turned to me. By the way, what's your name? Robert, but you can call me Rob. I'm Frank, as in Frankenstein. I laughed and explained to him that I had already begun calling him Mr. Frankenstein. I felt a little weird admitting that, so I apologized. No need to apologize. I like the name. I honestly don't know my real name. I just picked that one. The door opened and there was a hooded man with his face hidden. Welcome home, Frank. Got a new one, huh? Yep, sure do, Phil. Let's make him feel at home. We walked through the door into a small homemade foyer. Some drywall had been thrown up and fortified with wooden pallets and barbed wire. There was yet another door. It was a thick steel door with a peephole. Phil gave another coded knock. A woman armed with a gun slung over her shoulders opened the door. Her face was riddled with scars and one of her eyes were bulging. She had the same mismatched facial features that Frank had. "Welcome to the Isle of Misfit Toys," announced Frank. It was a big open space with many cots strewn about all four walls. As we walked around and toured my new home, Frank introduced me to everyone. It was all the same. The scars and parts were different, but the procedure was recognizable. There were even children, little misshapen research subjects imprisoned in a world devoid of holidays and birthday parties, or at least in the normal sense. This world tries to operate as normal, but in the end, it's difficult to be normal when you're hidden and locked away in a warehouse. We're all victims traumatized by our encounters with ghastly reminders etched on our bodies and faces. Our minds are no less affected. There's a big handwritten sign hanging over the entrance door. It reads, "No red lights."